If you dabble around in the real estate world long enough, you're going to hear two terms, private money lender and hard money lender. And I want to explain to you guys what the difference between those two are. Now, what can be confusing is sometimes people will talk about hard money lenders and they'll call them private lending as well. So don't get confused with that. The reason people use that term is because it's kind of like the wild, wild west in hard money lending. They can essentially do what they want. They don't have to conform to government rules and regulations like traditional loans do. Okay. So that it's in the private lender sector, but a private money lender and a hard money lender in our context are two separate things. So what are they? Well, when we look at what a private money lender is, I want you to think of somebody in your network. Like they don't lend professionally. All right. Hard money lenders, we'll talk about this in a minute. They lend professionally, but a private money lender is going to be a family member, a friend, an acquaintance, another investor, a coworker, somebody that you have found in your network. Now, it may not be your immediate network. You may have to go through other people's network to eventually find this person. Okay. But they are going to be somebody who doesn't do it for a living. I actually put together a free guide a while ago that breaks down how to go and find a private lender. If you guys want that, text me the word key, Key, to 864-660-7148. Again, the word key to 864-660-7148. And I'll text you that guide over so you'll have it. I think it's like 21 or 22 pages. It's pretty in depth. I just sat down and wrote out what I have done to find private lenders in the past, and thought it would be helpful for the listeners. So go check that out. But again, it's going to be somebody in your network, okay? Whereas hard money lending, they are going to be a company. It's somebody who, most of the time, I guess it could be an individual as well, but most of the time it's going to be a company and they lend for a living. Like that's how they make their income, is they lend money to investors, so that investors, can get a deal that maybe the bank won't lend to them, or so investors can have what's called a bridge loan. We'll talk about that in a minute, to be able to get them to be able to flip a home, or, burr a property, whatever the case may be. Now, when we look at terms, when we're creating our terms with a private money lender, the good thing about working with a private money lender, like somebody in your network, is you can get creative on the terms. Okay. So when you do a hard money loan, you're probably in this environment in 2023, going to pay somewhere between 10 to 12% in interest on the loan. Okay. And it's going to be an interest only loan, and you're going to pay that interest only back to the hard money company every month until you pay the loan back. And I'd say 90% of the time, these loans are what I just mentioned, bridge loans. And so they're short-term loans. They'll leave the money out to you for a year, and then you have to pay the entire amount back in a year. But they're very advantageous for an investor because you may use it to execute the BRRRR strategy. So where you buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So this hard money lender company, okay, whether you're doing the BRRRR method or you're flipping a property, you're going to buy a property, fix it up, and turn around and sell it. They will loan you usually, it depends how experienced you are, your credit, things like that. Some of them actually don't even look credit, but it looks at experience, the property itself. They will loan you 85% up to 100% of the purchase price plus rehab. Okay, this is huge. They'll loan you the purchase price plus rehab. So if you're buying a house for $100,000 and you need $50,000 in rehab, that's $150,000 total. They'll loan you 90% of that. So that means you only have to come up with 10% of $150,000, which is $15,000. Okay. That's not too shabby, when you are doing a real estate deal. And so you will put $15,000 down and you'll close on the property. And so then the hard money lender will fund that entire project, the rehab. They'll normally do a weekly draw. You'll send pictures or have the contractor send pictures showing the work that you have done on the property, and you pay those interest-only payments. And then once you refinance that property out with the bank after it's fixed up or after you sell the property, you then take the profits or the refinance money and you're going to pay the private or the hard money lender back, and their loan is done. And now you've either sold the property and you've made your profit, or you've refinanced it with the bank into a long-term mortgage, and the hard money lender's out of the picture, and you can just continue to do this over and over and over again. Okay. So that's how most of those deals are going to be structured. I would say a lot of times you're going to have to put some type of money down. I may get away with my experience only having to put like 3% down, 5% down. But until you get a lot of experience, you probably have to put 15, 10, 15, maybe sometimes 20% down, and they set those parameters. Okay. There's really not a ton of negotiating because they do so much volume. They tell you, hey, this is how this goes. If you want to work with us, great. If you don't, so be it. These are our parameters. Whereas when we're doing private money, it can be all across the board how you structure deals. Okay. There's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever structure you get the private lender to agree to. So you could do it exactly like you do hard money loans, 10 to 12% bridge loan. They'll leave it out for a year, pay interest only until you pay it back. You could try to get a lower interest rate. I've done private money loans at 5%. I've done them at 12%. Right? It just depends what you're trying to accomplish and what the person you're working with will be okay with doing. One of the things I do try to do, actually two things I try to do with private money lenders, is I try to set it up to where I don't have to pay them their interest until the end of the project. And so with hard money lender, we have to pay that interest only payment every month. Well, that raises your holding cost throughout the life of the loan. Whereas with a private money lender, if you can get the private money lender to agree to doing it, it's advantageous for you to say, hey, I'll pay you all the interest accrued when I either refinance or either when I sell the property and make my profit from the flip. Okay. So that's number one. That's a hack. Try to set that up. Number two is I try to put the house that the private money lender is lending to as collateral and not me have to personally guarantee the loan. Okay. So if you personally guarantee the loan, you got to pay the loan back no matter what. But if you can keep a personal guarantee off of the agreement between you and the private money lender, well, now if you default and crap hits the fan for whatever reason, bad project, I don't know, Armageddon happens, you name it, well, they just get the property. Okay. And that protects you. That really mitigates your risk substantially when it comes to investing in real estate. There's some things that you can do to get creative with private money and hard money lenders. So a lot of times, I know folks who will get a hard money loan and the hard money lender will lend them 90% of the purchase and rehab, but now they got to come up with 10%. Well, do they want to spend their own money for that 10%? Or do they want to go to a private money lender and say, hey, I need 10% for this down payment. I just need it out for a year. I plan on paying you back within 4 to 6 months, but if you could give me a year for breathing room, that would be great. Maybe you have to get creative. And since it's such a smaller amount, you only do a 6-month loan or an 8-month loan. Again, you can get creative, but get a private money lender to loan you the down payment for your hard money loan. This is also a great way to get a new private money lender partner's feet wet working with you. So you think it's easier for a private money lender to lend you $150,000 or $15,000 as a first trial with you, right? I would choose the $15,000 as a first trial with somebody. And so that can help build a relationship as you progress forward. And now they'll loan you $100,000. Well, you've paid them back. They made money. Now they'll loan you $200,000. And now you have somebody in your corner who's just wanting to fund every single deal possible. I'll tell you, with private money lenders, you want to make sure that it's all done legally. So don't do it on a handshake. I don't care if you're doing it with your dad, your brother, your father-in-law, uncle, best friend. Everything's done legally. Okay. Get a promissory note drawn up by an attorney. Don't message me saying, hey, will you help me with this promissory note? I'm not a real estate attorney. If you message me, I'm going to tell you to go sit down with an attorney, pay the piper. Okay. These are things in life that you pay the money for because it's worth it. You want it drawn up exactly so that everybody knows that if blank happens, this is the consequence, good or bad. If you die, then now, your wife takes your position. If she dies, now your kids take your position. If they die, well, now your equity's split between, the lender and the other lender, whatever the case may be. If you had two private lenders, I don't know, I'm getting wild over here, but you just want it all spelled out perfectly. So there's no miscommunication that then leads to bad blood. People say, never do business with family or friends. Well, that's because you do it wrong. You're doing handshakes and nobody communicates. And when you don't communicate, then everybody has assumptions and nobody's assumptions are correct. And everybody gets pissed off and you don't talk to them ever again. And that's just stupid because you all were immature on the front end. But if you be mature adults, sit down, spell it out with an attorney on the front end, you're going to have a lot of success on the back end. And you can have a lot of great partnerships with people who are close to you that will flourish. Again, if you want a copy of that private lender guide, DM me the word key at 864-660-7148. And, if you need help with lenders, with hard money lenders, with the lending community, that's something that we help our students with in the Rental Academy. And so if you want to get into the Rental Academy, we open it a few times a year. Just text me the word WIN to 864-660-7148, and we will get you either in the academy if the doors are open or on the wait list if it's closed right now, so you will know when it does open eventually. Guys, if you would share this with a friend or two who this would help. I know this would help somebody. This is information that I wish I would have known when I first started. So send it out to somebody. That's why I do it, is to try to spread the news to as many people as possible. And then take a screenshot of you listening to this and tag me on Instagram at Finance Cowboy. Would love to thank you personally for taking the time to listen to my podcast. It means the world to me. I love you all. And until next time, we'll talk soon.